Today we're going to look at how powerful these banned legacy cards are. Alright, we're starting off with a very interesting one, Time Twister. Because for a blue 2 generic, it's a sorcery. Each player shuffles his or her hand and graveyard into his or her library and then draws 7 cards. This is an interesting card because, well, this card is banned in Legacy, restricted in Vintage. It is completely legal in Commander. It's completely legal in Oathbreaker. You could make this your signature spell. Time Twister all day, all night. Now, I think, I don't know the full problems to Time Twister. I'm sure this is a combo player's dream. I imagine, like, the deck that can abuse this card the most is the one that can just spew out their hand on one turn with the Lotus Petals, with, I don't know, Ancient Tomb and Chrome Mox and Lion's Eye Diamond, and then you Time Twister. And you've emptied your hand, mind you. Your opponent hasn't emptied their hand whatsoever. You Time Twister and you get a full 7 cards again. So you like spew out, I don't know, 5 to 6 cards on the battlefield. Your opponent got nothing, and after you Time Twister, you just basically got a new 7 card hand when your opponent didn't get anything at all. So, that is one way to completely break this card. Not to mention, like, it's Wheel of Fortune for blue. You want to give Wheel of Fortune to blue? That doesn't sound like a whole very good idea. I mean, blue is like I wouldn't say it's like the only combo color, but it's like one of the combo colors. It's the color with Brainstorm and Ponder, for crying out loud. They'll look for this Time Twister. There's like, in a blue deck, there are more Time Twisters effectively in that deck than a red deck has Wheel of Fortune, if you get my drift. And Wheel of Fortune is also banned in Legacy. Monster CC is like, had to do a Legacy stream after getting bit by the Legacy bug. No, we've been talking about the Legacy ban list for months. I just can't get through the whole thing. We've made our way to the T's. We've worked our way down. The last one that we looked at was Time Walk. So now we've got ourselves down to the T's. And by the way, once we get past T, once you get down to the T's, it gets really broken. You know a card is really broken in Legacy when it starts with the letter T or later. Yeah, how powerful? It's over 9,000! Oh, I should have better sound effects. I owe you guys new sound effects. I owe you guys way more sound effects. But it is true, I've been playing a lot of Legacy lately. And there's a lot of Chrome Moxes, Lotus Petals, Mox Opals. Oh my god, I can't imagine what the 8 cast deck using this card. They could use that card easily and just spew out more like free mana onto the battlefield, no problem. Basically draw 7 cards and then draw more cards off of their stupid thought casts and thought monitors and stuff like that. Yeah, today's probably the last. Probably today is the last of the list. Do we know anything else that can break this card? So Time Twister, we know that very good in combo decks. Probably not a lot of fair decks are going to use this because fair decks are going to be like relatively clunky. I mean, unless there can be like a Time Twister Stompy deck. There's a lot of Stompy decks in Legacy right now that abuse like Ancient Tomb, City of Traders, Chrome Mox to put out those initiative cards. Like, it wasn't that... Didn't that Plume thing just recently got banned? We could actually look at that card, because I don't think that was on the list before. Where is that? There's a Plume card. They banned a white card here. They also banned Expressive Iteration. I swear they banned a Plume card. Where is it? Yeah, what? Okay, we'll get to that today. We'll get to it. Well, why don't we get to it right now? We'll be a little out of order. White, Plume, Adventurer. I don't know what mono blue Stompy deck would take advantage of Time Twister, but this card got banned, and it's a strange banning because there's still like a million initiative cards in Legacy. It's like that they didn't really do anything. You water down the white version, like there was mono white initiative that used cards like White Plume Adventure, but they just splashed green for more initiative cards. They can splash red for the red initiative cards. It's like, it's okay, so you've gone from mono white to like 2 color or whatever. It wasn't really that big of a deal. The fact that initiative exists, it just exists. I don't know, maybe I just started playing Legacy after this card got banned, so I don't know the difference, but it didn't seem like the really big hard banning. White 2 generic for a 3/3. When White Plume Adventurer enters the battlefield, you take the initiative! Good for you. At the beginning of each opponent's upkeep, untap a creature you control. If you've completed a dungeon, untap all creatures you control instead. Oh! So everyone has a different ability for the initiative. I get it. One of them, like, drew a card at end of turn. You take the initiative. You go into the dungeon or something. What's it called? MTG Dungeon Initiative. Is it the Undercity? It is the Undercity. Hold on. Alright, we're going to the Undercity, people. This is how it works. I've never seen anything past trap before. So first there's the secret entrance. So if you deal damage to someone, you get the initiative. Or if you just put this stupid thing in play, you take the initiative. And so you search a library for a basic land, reveal it. Good job. Then you can scry 2, or you can put 2 counters on your creature, so it's effectively a 3-mana 5/5. And then you burned your opponent for 5 damage. That's not bad. Not bad at all. And I've never seen these abilities below this. As a Merfolk player, I've actually killed my opponent with the initiative. Because hey, you want to bring the initiative on? All right, let's do this. And then I have Island Walk, I attack. Then I Trickster down, I tap down their stupid, initiative creature. Then I put the counters on my creatures, and I trap them for 5 damage. Oh, sorry. They lose 5 life, whatever. So I've actually made some good use out of all this stuff. I've never been down the Lost Well in Stash before, or the Catacombs. I don't know what this is. What is at the bottom here? Throne of the Dead 3. Reveal the top 10 cards of your library. Put a creature card from among them onto the battlefield with 3+1/+1 counters. Gains hexproof until your next turn. That's sick. That's going to be a new achievement unlocked. I got to do that. So anyway. Now, is this a strong mechanic? Sure. I don't know if this was ban worthy though. You just kill these creatures, you counter them. I don't know. I don't think it's that. I honestly didn't think it was that big of a deal. But maybe it's from my perspective. I have a deck that's good against the initiative decks. Not every deck is good versus initiative, I guess. Rob, we got Rob here with us. Super chat, thank you so much. Hey, Nikachu, great to catch you around 1 a.m. every day now. Okay. Expressive Iteration died for Brainstorm Sins, changed my mind. All right, now that's a card we did not look at. Expressive Iteration. And 100%. You're 100% right, Rob. Brainstorm is easily a ban-worthy card in Legacy. Look at Brainstorm. So 1 blue, draw 3 cards, put 2 cards back on top of your library in any order, and then use a fetch land or some other shuffle effect, Stoneforge Mystic, to shuffle the bad cards away. This is a very unreasonable Magic card. As someone who's been, playing a lot of Legacy recently, I realized the metagame is separated into 2 camps. The Brainstorm camp and the Ancient Tomb camp. So are you trying to abuse fast mana with Ancient Tomb? And then create, and with Ancient Tomb, there are these stompy decks, prison decks, these a lot of adventurer decks. White, green, green, red, white, red. I've seen Naya adventurer decks, a lot of adventurer decks. So it's divided into those 2 camps. And they don't want to ban Brainstorm. No, Brainstorm going to stay around forever, so they ban Expressive Iteration instead. That's right. Yeah, it's a mainstay of the format of Legacy. People like playing with their broken cards. I think this card is very unreasonable. I think that 4 years ago, 3 decks played this card, and 2 one of them were Fringe, and today half the metagame plays this card. This is Soul Ring on a land. I think it's better than Soul Ring. Soul Ring's banned. That's wild. So anyway, yeah, they ban Expressive Iteration. Red, blue, sorcery. Look at the top 3 cards of your library. Put 1 of them into your hand. Put 1 of them on the bottom of your library and exile 1 of them. You may play the exiled card this turn. It's effectively another Brainstorm. If you have a lot of mana, you can really make good use out of this card. Maybe in the late game, I guess technically it's better than Brainstorm because you will definitely scoop up 2 cards, whereas Brainstorm, you're only getting basically 1 card. But you have to, you could effectively draw 3 good cards so long as you put some bad ones back. I get your streams at noon Eastern time. Love to watch. Thank you very much, David. I appreciate it. Yeah, Elves uses neither. And that's why they're hurting in the meta percentages. See, like, I got the legacy metagame up. I'm studying the legacy metagame. I'm gonna break this metagame, people. You know where Elves is? It's down here. Good. Last I saw Elves, it was like 10%. I'm glad that they lost a lot of footing, because that's a bad matchup for me. That's terrible. Stetson says, I'm literally buying Force Wheels right now for Legacy. Please don't speak Brainstorm banning into existence. There's a lot of people who think Brainstorm, like, should be banned, but it's just not, because people love playing their Brainstorm. Just like how now people are just going to love playing their Ancient Tomb. So these are just going to be, they are like the format. Actually, I don't think Brainstorm takes away from the format. I think it adds. I think it's a very interesting card. Even though I don't even play it. I wonder if play was replaced with cast, if it would have been enough of a difference on the banning. If play was replaced with cast? No, right. Play has been replaced with cast. Oh, are you talking about this? Look at the top. Hold on, let's look at the top 3 cards of your library. Put one of them in your hand. Put one of them. Oh, because then you can't play lands. Interesting idea. Yeah, maybe it got pushed because you can play lands off of Expressive Iteration. So if you've missed your land drops, or you don't have a land drop for the 3rd turn, typical play is play Expressive Iteration, go find that land, and put it into play. If you don't find a land, you might find a, oh, what's that artifact called? Not Chrome Box. Mishra's Bauble. If you find Mishra's Bauble, it's good. It's good as mana. It is good as mana. Is it a powerful? It's probably powerful. It's banned already in a lot of formats. It's banned in Explorer. It's banned in Pioneer. It's banned in Legacy. It's still around in Modern for some reason. To be honest, it doesn't feel as overwhelming in Modern, because you can do some insanely broken, over-the-top stuff. Modern is a snowball format, whereas Legacy is more of a 1-for-1 format. That's something I could say. It's a 1-for-1 format, or it's a 2-for-2 format. You're trading a lot of resources. Expressive Iteration is one of those types of cards that gets way ahead on resources. You're basically just, you're getting a 2-for-1 right now. It's a really good investment. Expressive Iteration will live on in other formats. Well, it doesn't have that many formats. It's gonna, one day it's probably just gonna end up living only in Commander. Rob says, Brainstorm gets the Dame pass as Mishra's Workshop in Vintage and Soul Ring in Commander. Yeah, something like that. Something like that. Alright, so, is this... Okay, so now, getting into Expressive Iteration, is this a super powerful card? It's just good value, but I wouldn't put it into the... I wouldn't put in the power range as the other cards. Like, this is not Wheel of Fortune. This is not Time Twister. It's just good value. And as we said, Brainstorm is better. Arguably, Ponder is better than this card. Yeah, I mean, this is very clunky in the early game. You know what's interesting, though, about this card? It's 2 mana. So it actually plays around Chalice of the Void on 1, which is a very popular play, either off of City of Traders, Chrome Box, or Ancient Tomb. Right now, like, basically any deck, well, not everyone, but like a lot of the Soul Land decks play Chalice of the Void to play on 1. So this actually played around it. So now that Expressive Iteration is banned, perhaps those like Delver-esque decks now will be a little bit more vulnerable to Chalice on 1. That they lost their beautiful, I don't know. Some people are comparing this to Treasure Cruise. Treasure Cruise, Dig Through Time. I can't relate, but maybe. Maybe. Instead of getting 3 random cards, you just pick the 2 best out of the 3 cards. This card just makes Delver crazy. Too many cheap spells. Expressive Iteration was banned because 30% of the meta was playing it, so they wanted to keep it. 30%? That's nothing! Come on, that is nothing. Okay, let's look at how many Brainstorm and Ancient Tomb decks. Let's look at the Ancient Tomb decks. This is an Ancient Tomb deck. 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 I could say easily 30% is Ancient Tomb deck. And then we got like more than 50% has to be like Brainstorm. Brainstorm deck, Brainstorm deck, Brainstorm deck, Brainstorm, Brainstorm, Brainstorm. Oh, the Brainstorm. I don't know if there's a... I saw Ponder here, so it's probably also a Brainstorm deck. Brainstorm. They're all Brainstorm decks. 30% ain't enough. It's weak sauce in Legacy. 30%. Come back to me when it's like 1,000,000%. Expressive Iteration, I don't think it's that powerful. It's a good card, but not nearly as good as the other cards on the ban list, and also in Legacy, period. So we're going to look at more crazy banned cards in Legacy. But we got to thank our sponsors first, FusionGamingOnline.com. You know what? I'm getting back into Legacy. You need your Legacy cards. And by the way, some decks like Death and Taxes and Merfolk, they don't play reserve list cards, so you can have a tier 1 deck without actually having to spend tens of thousands of dollars. And you know where to get them from. You get them at FusionGamingOnline.com. Today's deal of the week is save 15% off old or original Innistrad block singles. There you go. Go get yourself an original Cavern of Souls. Very Legacy playable. And you can support the channel by using coupon code Nikachu at checkout and also save yourself 5% off all your purchases. We're also going to thank Mana Traders, the premier place for renting Magic cards online. Your ability to play any deck anytime you want in any format. That's why I don't think I'd be using that. I would be playing Legacy if it wasn't for Mana Traders. It would cost me too much to keep buying and selling the cards back. I hated doing that. But right now, thanks to Mana Traders, I can rent the Dazes, I can rent the Force of Wills, I can rent the Wastelands. And you can support the channel using my Mana Traders link in the description below, or save 10% off your first 2 months using coupon code Nikachu_U3V. Sweet stuff. All right, and now back to the broken cards. Bro, okay, hold on. What's next on our list? All right, next. Oh man, we're getting through these terribly slow. All right, Tinker. But we had to look at some of the old ones. Tinker. It makes me curious what Tinker would do these days. We decided we had a whole show about Tinker once, and we decided that Bolas's Citadel was like the best thing you could get. Bolas. I don't know how to spell Citadel. Yeah, we agreed like Bolas's Citadel is strictly banned. Or sorry, the best thing that you could get off of Tinker. Legendary artifact. You may look at the top card of your library anytime. You may play the top card of your library. If you cast a spell this way, pay life equal to its converted mana cost, rather than pay its mana cost. And you can tap, sack 10 non-land permanents. Each opponent loses 10. Loses 10 life? You get crazy really quickly. Elfiner with a super chat. How is Crusade and Cleanse banned? Because they are culturally insensitive. Watch this. Crusade. One day they made... Oh, I can't even find it, actually. You know what? Last time I tried to look for Crusade on Gather, it just didn't even show up. But anyway, they're banned because they are... they're not powerful. They're just culturally insensitive. And that's the direction Wizards of the Coast is going. So, yeah, back to Tinker. I think that's the best you can do. Because if you get a creature, there's always a chance it gets sacrificed or some nonsense happens. Or, you know, you can't play around Grafdigger's Cage. Grafdigger's Cage is also a very popular sideboard card. Because it can be used versus the Elves decks. Like, there's a lot of tutoring decks. There's the Green Sun Zenith deck. So you can't tutor exactly for creatures reliably. I mean, you could just put one random one in your deck, I guess. But you can tutor out really other gross busted artifacts. Yeah, just probably the Citadel. And now I'll admit, this is broken. I think anytime you tutor anything onto the battlefield, it is absolutely broken. Complete nonsense. Tutoring into play, I think, is one of the most powerful things you could do. It's like your library is your deck. I think tutoring cards on top of your library, very strong. Tutoring cards into your hand, pretty broken. And then tutoring cards directly onto the battlefield, ban-worthy. So Tinker is easily very ban-worthy. Tinker may be the single most powerful card ever printed. Maybe. Does this deserve to be on the Power 9? Like, is this better than Time Twister? I don't know. Like, Tinker is good in a Tinker deck, but, you know, a Time Twister is good in any deck. Could be good in a Tinker deck, could be good in a Storm deck. It's a good card. It's a good card. I'm not gonna lie. It's a very, very good card. Alternate win con in a storm deck with Blightsteel Colossus. That is possible. I mean, it doesn't take very much, right? I mean, you just throw the damn thing in there. You just need one Blightsteel Colossus. It's not gonna clog up your hand. You can brainstorm, put it back on your library, and then just shuffle it away. Hides in Planar Bridge? Where did I see this? Is Planar Bridge the thing to get now? Can't remember what this thing does. Search your library for a perma card. Put onto the oh my goodness! This thing's crazy. But it's a lot of mana. So, I mean, hey, you're paying for it. Tinker you could play on, like, turn 1 in the right deck. You know, Chrome Mox, Lotus Petal, Land, Tinker. Or even Chrome Mox, Ancient Tomb, Tinker. So that's a problem. It's very undercosted for what it does. You just easily just slam that thing out super quickly. The Colossus, you're not thinking big enough here. That's too small. I mean, it's possible. But I think that you're like, do you really want to put a Colossus Hammer in play, or do you want to put the Blightsteel Colossus? There's only one true Colossus around here. Tinker can't fetch Emery. That's true. Yeah, Ancient Tomb Mox. That's it. And they doomed. Tinker Planar Gate? Thank you very much for the super chat, Alpha Nerd. Planar Gate? What's all up about this? Creatures spells you cast cost up to 2 less to cast. That is a very, very underwhelming card to tinker out. Rabbit! We got Rabbit Corn here. Thank you very much for the super chat. Can we agree to ban Rhystic Study, I'm guessing you mean? Rhystic Story and Smothering Tithe and Commander. You can debate that if you want. There are some people that want to get Rhystic Study banned. Because just the way it... Whoa. I heard some competitive players argue that Rhystic Study should get banned in Commander for tournaments. For, like, Tournament Commander. Because there could be some bad players at the table that feed the fish. And, like, even if you're a good Commander player, well, you lose because the other 2 dummies at the table kept feeding the Rhystic Study player like 1,000,000 cards. It sounds like you gotta pay the 1. You want to take Commander seriously, you gotta pay the 1. Tinker for Paradox Engine. Is this worth it? Whenever you cast a spell, that could be worth it. Yeah, depending on the board state. So obviously, there's multiple purposes to the Tinker, and it's yeah. Do you pay the 1? Meme it out. Yeah, I get it with Smothering Tithe. Just pay the 1. I get Tithe, but just pay the 1. You gonna pay the 1? Do you pay the 1? Trigger, pay the 1. You gonna pay the 1? I'll draw my card because you did not pay the 1. Anyway, Natural Order is green Tinker that costs 1 more. Should it see a ban? I think it's more powerful than Tinker. You know what? I think Natural Order, you're right, actually. You're right, but there's 2 things. First, it's harder to keep your creatures alive before you Natural Order. Also, it is easier to deal with creatures. There are, like I said with Grafdigger's Cage, there are more answers to Natural Order than there are to Tinker. So, like, you know, you can't deal with I mean, there are answers out there, but they're not great. Like, you know, there's Null Rod, maybe Pithing Needle, but you, like, got a Pithing Needle knowing exactly what they're going to put onto the battlefield. It's easier to deal with creatures. But I really like that analogy. I didn't think about that, but now that you say it, I think you're completely right. Natural Order is the green Tinker. But the 1 extra mana matters. It does matter, because what? You're going to probably ramp that creature out, right? With, like, Mana Dorks. But those Mana Dorks can die, so it's really slow. Tinker! You can't interact very well with the artifacts, and you can definitely Tinker by turn 1. You can't. It's so hard to Natural Order by turn 1. Not reliably. Yeah, it's way faster than Natural Order. Tinker, turn 1 play. Natural Order, probably turn 3. Maybe turn 2 if you're really lucky. Ether Vial is one of the most annoying cards in Magic. Thank you very much. Alright, Tinker. Completely broken. Gets the broken sign of approval. Now we move from 1 broken card to another. Some YouTube channels named after this card. The Tolarian Academy. It's a legendary land. Tap, add a blue to your mana pool for each artifact you control. You know, I would like to believe that this card is somewhat as strong as, or just a little bit stronger than Gaia's Cradle, and that we should be allowed to play with this card, but I know that's not true. So anyway, like, again, you can, like, just spew out a bunch of artifacts, play your Tolarian Academy, and go wee! Wee! Wee with mana! The Academy worked with time until time ran out. Great flavor text. Pretty much the same reason Tolarian Academy is banned, but not Cradle. Yeah, it's similar thing. It's easier to deal with the creatures than it is to deal with the artifacts. Like, even if you deal with artifacts most of the time, you're just locking them down. But not preventing them from entering the battlefield. Should Green Sun still be banned? If so, they ban Invasion of Ikoria. I don't think they should ban Green Sun Zenith. I think that card is very fair. You can only tutor... I mean, tutoring into play is still strong, but it's harder to abuse that card, because you still need to spend X amount of mana. But that's a very good card. And that's why there's so many Green Sun Zenith decks out there. The Jade, it says, the best land of all time. What, better than Underground Sea? Artifacts cost 0. Creatures don't use... Yeah, that's another point, Rob. Artifacts, they cost 0. Roll call, Lotus Petal. What are the most common cards? We got Lotus Petal, Chrome Mox. We got Mox Opal in some decks. We got Mishra's Bauble, which is actually played by multiple decks. I think Urza's Bauble too now sees play. Urza's Bauble. We got all the baubles here. So there's a lot of 0-mana artifacts that you can just spew on the battlefield, and boom, you got like 3-4 mana on turn 1. Easy. No problem whatsoever. Yeah, oh yeah, I forgot. Ornithopter. Mox Diamond. It's true story. So, Ornithopter. A classic! Mox Diamond. Totally forgot about that card. Yeah, technically, well, Tormod's Crypt, but that's not one of the default ones. Lion's Eye Diamond, that's a default one. Yeah, Lion's Eye Diamond. So that's a pretty common one. So this is just broken. So, like, you know, it's very easy to turn your Tolarian Academy online very early in the game. Like, on turn 1, you can have access to 3 to 4 mana easily. Not counting the mana that your other artifacts are making. Whereas, when it comes to Gaia's Cradle... you need those creatures in play, and they need to be alive. Add a green to your mana pool for each creature you control. So this card does go big, but it goes big on like turn 3, effectively. Or really big on turn 3. You can get it going on turn 2, I guess, but it goes really big turn 3. Assuming the creatures are still there. And there are times when the creatures get wiped out, they go BAM! You play that Supreme Verdict or Plague Engineer or something. They've got all their creatures wiped out. Now the Gaia's Cradle doesn't add anything. Doesn't add anything. Rabbit Corn, thank you very much for the super chat. Do you think Tolarian would be really good as a sack land? aka tap, sack, Tolarian Academy, add blue for every... I think it would still be broken. To be honest, I think that would still be broken. You guys can give us your opinion. If it was tap, sack, add a blue for each artifact you control, I would still cost you your land drop, I guess. But that sounds pretty strong. Red got absolutely hosed on the Urza Saga land saga. Oh yeah, there's always a stinker. There's always a stinker. Always. Wesley says, honestly, Sensei Divine Top could be unbanned. It would be fine. It would just waste tournament's time. Hey, we looked at that card. It was banned, I mean, partially because it's good, but mostly because it wasted people's time in Legacy tournaments. The time, you know, Legacy cannot finish before the time ends because stupid Sensei's Divine Top decks. I don't know if Tolarian should be banned. It should be restricted, maybe because you can still destroy it or Blood Moon it. Hey, I'm all for restricting cards in Legacy. Honestly, I have no problem with restrictions if people like to play with broken, powerful stuff. But they don't like to do that outside of Vintage for some reason. They just don't like the idea. Manny, Cradle should be banned in Commander. It's super expensive and scarce and powerful. Too powerful, in fact. I don't mind banning stuff because they're powerful, but I don't get the expensive thing because you can just proxy it if you really want to. And there's tons of expensive cards. You can't control what's expensive. Of course, usually cards that are expensive are also very good, but if it's too powerful, then that's where it can draw the line. Too many cards that allow you to play lands from the graveyard. Yeah, well I mean that's true, but I don't think the land graveyard decks used to Tolarian Academy, or not well at least. Oh, by the way, we're doing this all by alphabetical order, so if you're like throwing out cards, Wasteland's not banned in Legacy. That's a good card. What is an expensive card that sucks? City in a Bottle. This is a $400 card. Good luck making any good use out of this. Anyone have City in a Bottle in your Commander deck? No, I didn't think so. That's a 400. Can I show you guys? The price doesn't show up here. I can't get there. Well, because I'm blocking it. It's a $400. You're gonna have to trust me. It's a $400 card. There are some very collectible reserve list cards that are just very expensive because they are like iconic, but not that they're good. Okay, so Tolarian Academy. It's broken. It definitely deserves to be banned. All right, next one, Treasure Cruise. The original expressive iteration. The original. I got to play with this card in Legacy at the time. It was wild. You know what was funny? In the very first Legacy tournament, this was legal. Only one person was brave enough for some reason to play it. Like a lot of, so when it was like released, everyone was like, oh my god, they just put Ancestor Recall into Standard, into Modern, into Legacy. But when it came to the first Legacy tournament, most people didn't want to play test it, I guess. They didn't want to take a chance that it would suck. So there was like only basically maybe like one player in the event that put Treasure Cruise in their Delver deck, and they just obliterated everybody. It was wild. And then after that one tournament, everyone played Treasure Cruise in their deck. Crazy that it's common. I guess they thought it'd be fair and limited. Oh yeah, it was fair and limited. It was fair in Standard. It was just broken in and they had fetch lands back then, by the way. Because like it came in Khans of Tarkir. That was a fetch land set. It was a wild time. Yeah, this card's insane. It literally was Ancestral Recall. Oh man, what a time to be alive. Everyone's like, I wish I could play with the Moxen. I wish I could play with Ancestral Recall. For like a year, you could. You literally could for a year. Someone legit looked at Treasure Cruise and R&D and said, Ancestral Recall is a perfect Pauper card. Oh yeah, this was legal in Pauper too. How long did it last in Pauper before it got banned? Now, the rationale behind these cards were like, well, if it's too broken for the other formats, we'll just ban it. That was their rationale. And ban it they did. Oh, they got banned. Some of them... I think this lasted like quite a while, though, in Modern. Didn't last that long in Legacy. They realized very quickly that this was pretty broken. But still, like, actually, the bannings were slow back then. There weren't any emergency bannings. You used to have to wait like 3 months for the BNR announcement, and then we say, okay, we'll make a move here. Then they'll be like, okay, we're monitoring Legacy, and then you'd have to wait another 3 months. There were like these quarterly banning and restricted announcements. I remember these were all quick bans. I think it took half a year. I could be wrong. Maybe Treasure Cruise got banned very quickly in Legacy, and then it was way slower in Modern. You can only call Cruise Ancestral if you know Yogg-Will. Oh yeah, that's true. Yogg-Will. Well, Yawgmoth's Will I think are very different from these cards. It came out with Swiftspear, so the blue-red deck was really strong for the time. I play in the SCG. That was another good point. Like, so there was a big problem when this thing got printed. Blue-red ended up being above and beyond like the best deck in Legacy and Modern at the time. And, I mean, it's relatively budget. Like, all you need is, like, 4 volcanic islands, and the rest of the deck were commons. You played with your Delver, your Swiftspear, your Young Pyromancer, Brainstorm, Ponder, Treasure Cruise. Your most expensive cards were, like, Volcanic Island and Scalding Tarn. And you didn't even need Scalding Tarn! Like, it wasn't necessary. You could just play with random other fetch lands if you wanted to. Because I think the only basics you played were, like, islands. I think. So anyway, this was really, really broken. We've got a super chat from Zai Kurin. Thank you very much for the super chat. Nika, should the bad fetch lands printed in Mirage be reprinted so Pioneer gets some type of fetch, or would it ruin the format? I think they should do it. Not gonna lie, I think they should do it. But I think a lot of people like that. You're talking about bad, like things like. It's called Badland? No. That's an actual... what is it called? Badlands? No. What's one of those? I can't remember. But I know what you're talking about. It's a fetch land that comes into play tapped, so you can't use it immediately. But it's... Yeah, Bad River is what I was thinking about. Thank you very much. But I thought they were going to do this in Modern Horizons. But it's possible that they were trying to make Pioneer a non-fetch format. Like, no searching at all. No, that's not true. They've got the stupid multicolor one. Fable Passage. So that's not true. So they could do that. Yeah, thank you very much, guys. But yeah, the point of these fetch lands is like, it comes into play taps. So you can't use it immediately. It's a little bit clunky. And you can sack and you just search for an island or swamp. And that card comes into play untapped. I think they could do this. I'm 100% for it. And they're cheap. They're like uncommons, for crying out loud. Fetch lands as they should be. Yeah, they got Evolving Wilds. That's real poop. They have Fable Passage. That's a very serious card. Okay, what else do we have to say about Treasure Cruise? Okay, Treasure Cruise was so good that decks that did not play blue played blue for Treasure Cruise. Actually, I don't know if that was the case in Legacy. That was the case in Modern. I don't know if Burn in Legacy played blue for Treasure Cruise. But it was such an insane boost for all the fair decks. Just disgusting. And it was so backbreaking. Like, I played at that time. You like, nullify every one of their resources, and then you're in top deck mode, and then all of a sudden one person plays Treasure Cruise, and it was like the biggest oof ever. They're very similar to how Expressive Iteration felt, or even still feels in Modern. But yeah, that was the Expressive Iteration at the time, and it was just as bad. So yeah, Treasure Cruise is outrageously broken. All right, next, Underworld Breach. Okay, Underworld Breach is a red 1 generic enchantment. Each non-land card in your graveyard has escape. The escape cost is equal to the card's mana value. Cost plus exile 3 other cards from your graveyard. At the beginning of your end step, sacrifice Underworld Breach. It's basically Yawgmoth's Will, which has a very similar effect, and is also banned. Until end of turn, you can play cards from your graveyard. This one has a little bit of a restriction that you have to escape cards, but it's not that big of a deal. I don't know how did they break this card in Legacy? I wasn't really paying attention to Legacy at the time. I wasn't paying attention to Legacy at all when this thing got banned. Breach means LED becomes Lotus. Oh, is that true? Oh, because you can keep bringing it back from your grave. That's right. That's right. And so long as you keep using cards from your graveyard, who cares if you discard your hand? That's true. Too many Yawgmoths, Will. Mark Zilla has, I have this in foil. We'll enjoy it in Modern while it lasts. Unless you play in Commander, then you can enjoy it for forever. LED Brain Freeze. Oh yeah, that's sick. Brain Freeze was the win con. That's crazy. This card is actual bonkers. Any number of storm cards can go with this, like Lion's Eye Diamond, or you can just DRC plus Bobble like you can in Modern. So Brain Freeze was the win con at the time? Brain Freeze puts your whole deck in play. Oh yeah, you Brain Freeze yourself! I totally didn't even see that. And you can eventually storm off like that. So you Brain Freeze yourself until you fill your graveyard, and then boom. We got Jorg, thank you so much for the super chat. We got this cute, actually a very nice avatar. What is that, Black Sonic the Hedgehog? Is that Shadow? We got the happy cat face over there. Cody says, I played in a Team Trios the weekend before it was banned. As the Legacy player, Underworld Breach deck beat me. 4-color Snowco also banned out of existence and came in first. Wild. Is Fast Bond still good? Yeah, I think so. That's Oh, hold on. Is that banned? No, that's banned. Sorry. You may play any number of lands on each year. Why would that? Why? Well, whatever. They got cards very similar to Fast Bond in Legacy already. They got Exploration, I think, is pretty damn close. 6 Baku feels broken. Way too many cards that benefit, including escape cards that require you to exile like 6+ cards to escape, but this allows you to escape for 3. Yeah, and then Brain Freeze is an insane... What an insane card. And you can... Because the thing is, the cards that you play from your graveyard don't get exiled. They go back to the graveyard. And you just have to pay more mana. So, like, you just... As you keep increasing Storm, you can easily dump your entire deck into your graveyard. Target player puts the top 3 cards of his or her library into his or her graveyard and then Storm. So this plus Lion's Eye Diamond was crazy. So what was like the best looking deck? Hold on. Legacy, Underworld, Breach, Brain Freeze. I'm just curious. Brain Freeze buyout, combo Brain Freeze. Like, was this the archetype? Was this the broken archetype? I want the whole deck, damn it. That's nothing. That's absolutely nothing. So here's a combo. Okay, so people are explaining the I don't need explanation for the combo. I want the deck. What does a list look like? Brain Freeze, Brainstorm, Entomb, Force Will, Pactive Negation, Surgical, Veil of Summer, also in there. Also, Careful Study, of course. So we got Careful Study, Infernal Tutor, Ponder. Oh yeah, this is broken. But how do you win? Oh, you eventually Brain Freeze them. So you like go as far as you can into your deck and then Brain Freeze your opponent. Couldn't you just maybe got them with, after they Brain Freeze their whole deck into their graveyard, why don't you force your opponent to draw some cards? GG! They could probably just have a Thassa's Oracle in here, though, if they really need to. Wesley G, thank you very much for the super chat. Unban everything. What's the best deck? No Power 9. I don't know. To be honest, I don't know. I don't have answers to these questions. These incredibly theoretical questions. But thank you very much for the super chat. Fast Bond is not going to be broken with... Fast Bond will be broken with the lands deck. That's exactly what's going to happen. Jeskai was the best version? Alright. Nikachu has a video on that, do I? Just wondered about Thoracle. Yeah, it's probably... Yeah, I mean, Thoracle is probably an alternative way of winning the game if you Brain Freeze like that. Michael says, I just realized we're past Flash, but the funny story, my friend ordered 4. It got banned 2 days after we received them. That's a feel-bad moment. You know, Channel Fireball for some time had this policy. If you bought from Channel Fireball and the card got banned, you could return it for a full refund. So that was really courteous of them. Because what is it to them? You got tons of cards. Like, if one card gets banned for these stores, they don't care. Other cards just go up in value. Alright, so Underworld Breach, yeah, we all agree. It's broken. And who knows? It's just waiting to get banned in Modern. Alright, next we got the Vampiric Tutor. I don't know what there is to say about this card. It's a black 1-mana instant. Search your library for any card, anything whatsoever. Shuffle your library and put that card on top and you lose 2 life. That is a very... And it's instant speed! So, like, your opponent... Well, I mean, in this case, they won't have any idea what the hell it is. But, you could just end of turn do this and then combo off. It's not... And it's really not that hard to, like, Vampiric Tutor, then ponder it into your hand or brainstorm it into your hand. It's really not that hard of... really not hard at all. Rob, thank you very much for becoming a member on YouTube. Thanks for becoming part of the Coffee Crew. And shout out to all the other members of the Coffee Crew. Bad top deck. Hate this card. Oh, come on. This is a very good card. I wish at least Imperial Seal could be legacy legal. There's no way they're going to let any of these tutors be legal. Maybe if it was restricted, it'd be okay, but still, like, if you have 4 copies of this, the combo decks will just be insane. So I do believe that this is, I wouldn't say it's just a good card. So it's not nearly as broken as some of the super busted stuff, but tutors are just too strong. It makes combos just too insanely consistent. Like, why brainstorm and ponder for your combo pieces when you can just directly find them? You can use it before the draw step as well. That's true. Well, I mean, that's the whole point of doing it at end of turn. So at end of your turn, Vampiric Tutor. So like, you can hold up counter magic or interactive magic, and you don't do anything threatening enough. Okay, Vampiric Tutor for the win. GG. Scrub. Nice game. You want another one? Cody says, not Legacy. I bought a Masterpiece Mox Opal the day before it was banned at my local game store. I had to push for it, but eventually got a partial refund. Thing dropped like $200. Is he really? Did he even go that far? You should have held on to that card. Like, this card is still very good. People don't realize that banned cards, they're not, it's not that bad. Okay, hold on. Let's look at Mox Opal, the Masterpiece. Let's see. See, look, it recovered. Like, yeah, it had a banning. Where did it get banned? Probably around here-ish. Yeah, I think it got banned around here. But if you had, it did go down by quite a bit. But if you had diamond hands, it was better than it ever was before. Remember, people, diamond hands, not paper hands. Why is Windfall banned? Because it draws a million cards. It's on another one of those things, like, if you spew your hand really quickly and then play Windfall, your opponents don't benefit off of Windfall, but you do. So your opponents discard 7 cards at the beginning of the game. You can easily just play, like, all your artifacts and a soul land, and then empty your hand of 7 cards, play Windfall. Or I should say empty your hand of 6 cards, play Windfall, and then refill your hand. Your opponent didn't get any benefit at all. Brainstorm and Ponder, basically Demonic Tutor. It's like, yeah, it's closest we got. It's Demonic Tutor at home, I guess. Nothing close to Demonic, not even in the same category. Well, you don't have to say Vampiric Tutor is Demonic Tutor, but, like, tutors are really good, so. Anyway, that's why Vampiric Tutor is banned, and I agree, it's a really broken card. Alright, next we got Wheel of Fortune. Wheel of... Oh, we're gonna get to Windfall eventually. Okay, we'll talk... Okay, Windfall, Wheel of Fortune, they're all in the same camp. Of, like, these cards are so good for combo decks. You just spew at your hand, Wheel of Fortune, then boom. I don't even know if Narset would be even a deck. Like, you could do that, but I think that's a little bit cute. So, we all know the combo with Narset. Harder avails. Each opponent can't draw more than one of each card each turn. Because there's already decks that use Echo of Eons. But I think they're just too cute. Like, they get Narset, Echo. Like, if you can get the whole thing going, then that's great. But individually, they just suck. So that's why Wheel of Fortune... That's why Wheel of Fortune is good whether you have Narset out or not. Like, these cards are good. Echo of Eons is a better Wheel of Fortune? Well, not really. You need it in the graveyard. It's good with Lion's Eye Diamond, I'll admit that. Very good Lion's Eye Diamond card. But Wheel of Fortune... Like, a red prison deck could use this, in my opinion. They just throw out their red prison cards. They spew out their artifacts. Wheel of Fortune for a new hand. And then, ideally, you can't even do anything because they got Chalice on one and Trinisphere out and, like, F you. Wheel of Fortune is so broken. Remember when the revised spiked to $800 Canadian. Ah, fellow Canadian out there. Cody, I'm from Winnipeg. One with nothing yourself in order to prevent opponent from winning. That's big brain. Yeah, it can't Windfall for a lot of cards if you have no cards in your hand. So is this card? Yeah, this card's broken. Card's broken. Anything? Oh, and while we're at it, we'll go to Windfall. We'll go straight to Windfall. Same thing. It's just Wheel of Fortune for blue. A little bit more awkward because late in the game it's not as useful, but like early in the game it is very useful. Chromox, Lotus Petal, Lion's Eye Diamond, Soul Land, empty your hand, Windfall, and basically screws your opponent. Wheel is amazing. You don't even... Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. These cards don't need any setup, really. You just do it. So this card's also broken. In Legacy. In Legacy. All right, we go to another one. Ren and 6. All right, this is an awkward one. Because this card, in a vacuum, really isn't that good. In Legacy. Like, it's fine. It can kill a Delver and a Dragon Rage Channeler before it gets bigger. But in the grand scheme of things, this thing kills not enough. But it's good because it is a huge combo with Wasteland. So decks that are weak to Wasteland, they just get completely wrecked. Get wrecked, scrub. So Ren and 6 will go +1, return up to 1 target land from your graveyard to your hand, and you just Wasteland them out of existence. And so if you ban Wasteland and make Ren and 6 fair, then the rest of the format just gets screwy, because Wasteland, I think, is a glue to Legacy. It's very good that Wasteland exists, so that you keep the soul lands in check, you keep greedy mana bases in check. Otherwise, Legacy could be a really wild format without Wasteland. Probably without Wasteland, Legacy is just dominantly a big mana format. You go big mana or go home. Boo. Ren and 6 Legacy was so terrible when it was around Wasteland, and Ren and 6 sucks. Monster CC loves Wasteland. Sorry, loves Legacy. Legacy was more miserable than when Ren and 6 was legal. Wasteland lock turn 3. Yes. It's basically strip mine. It's not technically strip mine. And so I've been playing a lot of Legacy these days. A lot of decks play around Wasteland. Like, they do their best. They fetch for basic, fetch for their second basic. Like, if you are not like 3-color decks, they don't want to screw around with the dual lands. It's like, I don't even know why the dual lands are even playable anymore. People just mostly go for their basic islands. I'm so often playing against like these Uro Snow 3-color decks that go like, they get the Snow Island, then the Snow Plains, then the Snow Plains, then the Snow Forest. They've got like an unlimited number of basic lands to go get. It's like the dual lands aren't even useful anymore. It's the fetch lands. Fetch lands. Basic land. Basic land is OP. Plays around Wasteland. Non-basic hate is why I like mono Legacy decks. Oh yeah. As do I. As do I. Legacy has such a fail-safe like Force of Will and Wasteland. I think Ren 6 is too overpowered. Wait, in Legacy, I don't know. I think this card sucks in Legacy, to be honest. Outside of Delver and Dragon Rage Channeler, it doesn't kill that much. Maybe that new blue-red young Pyromancer, I guess. Outside of that, it doesn't really kill many creatures. It's just broken with the Wasteland combo. Wasteland lock you out. Wasteland just needs to exist to keep... Yeah, Wasteland just needs to exist. Unban Strip Mine. Okay, maybe that's going too far. So anyway, I think Ren and 6 is actually not in a vacuum all that broken, but because of its combo with Wasteland, it is broken. So, but it is not as powerful. It's actually quite... It's on... I don't know, they screwed this thing up somehow. Maybe it should have been return up to 1 basic land from your graveyard to your hand. And maybe that would make Ren and 6 way more fair. So you can't abuse, like, any random stupid lands. Anyway. Ren and 6. What do we got next? We got... you. We have a bargain to make. The Yawgmoth's bargain. Black, 4 generic. Enchantment, skip your draw step. Pay 1 life, draw a card. You just... And it's easy to ramp this thing out. It's like... It's just like, what, 1... Grim Monolith and a Black Lotus away, and you can get this thing in play. Why is this card bad? You can draw your entire deck! You can draw your entire deck off of this card. If you have enough life, I guess. But, I mean, you can gain... I mean, you can just put a bunch of cards in your deck to gain that life. I mean, it's not too hard to put, like, what, Nourishing Shoal in your deck? With World Spine Worms? Not that broken, to be honest with you. You guys crazy? Unless you're talking about, Ren and 6. I believe this is supposed to be a fixed Necropotence. Yeah, well, they tried! Turns out it's even better because it's not you don't delay the card draw. This is literally just draw the cards immediately. Danger. Yeah, danger back then big time. Man, it must have been a hell of a time to be playing during the Urza's block, because this is an Urza Destiny card. This is when they made the most powerful cards perhaps ever. Perhaps ever. All the sets were sort of crap, and then one day they had the what was it called? The Urza Winter? No, sorry, Urza Summer. Yeah, I think it was Combo Summer. That's what it was called, or maybe it was Combo Winter. I don't know. It was just a bunch of combo decks back then. I started playing Magic after this, when they powered down everything in Masks block. Lotus Petal, Swamp, 2 Dark Rituals, Yawgmoth's Bargain. It doesn't matter how many resources you spend to get this thing in play. I mean, you're just drawing a billion cards. Yawg's Bargain seems slow, but with Shoal, I can see it being a broken deck. Oh, it is not slow. Yeah, this is... You can draw your entire deck off of this card. King Ginger wants this unbanned commander. Then just play Necropotence. Just play You got Yawgmoth's Bargain at home, and it's not bad. Alright, Necropotence is a pretty damn good card. Well, the news story has ended with a bang, but with a whimper. I see. Hand pink waving. Oh, welcome, John Doe. Shieldred loves it. Shieldred loves all these card draw cards. Anyway, Yawgmoth's Bargain is super broken. Easily. Alright, what do we got next? We were just talking about this one. Another Yawgmoth card. Yawgmoth's Will. And yeah, this thing's broken. Basically abuse all the cards in your graveyard. But at least with Yawgmoth's Will, if you play the card, it's got to get exiled. Because if a card would be put into your graveyard from anywhere this turn, exile that card instead. So you can't brain freeze yourself and then repeatedly brain freeze over and over and over again. GWJ, thank you so much for the super chat. I really appreciate it. Although I honestly don't know how they comboed with this. Was it another brain freeze deck? Just ban anything that references Yawgmoth or Phyrexia. Yeah, and Yawgmoth himself. Get him out of Modern. I'm just kidding. He's not that strong. Just blows away my deck. That's all. I'm just a salty Merfolk player. Ban Phyrexia and Dreadnought? Yeah, exactly. Do Cascade decks use Guy as well? I have no idea. How do people use this card? I have not a damn clue. Will is why Ancestral and Cruise are not the same. Well, I never made the comparison. Darth says, oh, I'm awake and you're alive. No way, you're welcome. Welcome to the show. Okay, Yawgmoth's Will get your Dark Rituals back and all the life drains again. So it's basically just another Storm card, right? It's another Storm card. Doesn't Storm already have stuff like this? Or maybe not. They don't... No, I guess they don't have anything that recurs stuff from the graveyard. The best that they got these days is just Ad Nauseam. It's like a 5 mana, draw a bunch of cards from your deck card. All these cards are really good. LED Dark Ritual. Yeah, that works. You will and use all Dark Rituals and stuff from graveyard and combo off. Sure. Yeah, probably the Tendrils Storm deck would use this. After Ancestral, you have all the graveyard left for Yawgwill. Yes. Storm has... Oh, yeah, that's right. They have Past in Flames. Which is like just a red 4-mana Yawgwill. And cards, I think, can go back to the graveyard. Well, what is Past in Flames? That's wild. 3 mana, broken. 4 mana... Or sorry, it's 4 mana if you cast it, but it's 5 mana from the graveyard. Okay, that's the big difference. Each instant and sorcery card in your graveyard has flashback until end of turn. The flashback cost is equal to its mana cost. But you can still play cards from hand, it goes to the graveyard and then flash them back, and they will get exiled from there. Okay, so this is basically... But that's interesting. 1 more mana is all the difference. And this thing's banned. Okay, Past in Flames doesn't get... Oh, that's true. It's just the instants and sorcery. Thank you very much, Shamus. That's true. That's a big, big difference. All right, this card's broken. You get anything. You get anything from that graveyard. All right. I wasn't really playing when this card got banned. But we got Zerda the Dawn Waker. Alright, we got a hybrid of Boros 1 generic, a 3/3 elemental fox. That's a hot fox. With companion, each permanent card in your starting deck has an activated ability. If this card is your chosen companion, you may cast it once from outside the game. Abilities you activate that aren't mana abilities cost 2 less to activate. This effect can't reduce the mana in that cost to less than 1 mana. Pay 1 tap, target creature can't block this turn. If I understand correctly, it was like, it made Grim Monolith broken. Grim Monolith. Because Grim Monolith has this clause, you have to pay 4 mana to untap it. Companion to make Basalt Monolith infinite. Well, Basalt, you're thinking too small. That's 3 mana. Why is it banned? It's banned because of Grim Monolith. So you can tap, add 3 mana, and then the activated ability would only be 2 mana. Yeah, so you have infinite mana with Grim Monolith. Zerda was in a combo activated abilities deck with Grim Monolith. I'm sure Grim Monolith rose up in value temporarily at the time. I use Zerda for cycling, because then it just makes all the cycling cards 1 mana. Ooh, that's sweet. So does it say specifically it can't be 0 mana? This effect can't reduce the mana in that cost to less than... Oh yeah, it says only less than 1 mana. Alright. Did they play Basalt Monolith too? So they played Grim Monolith, they played the Basalt Monolith. Because that's 3 mana to add 3 mana? Yeah. See, this card already goes infinite. But infinitely for nothing. Did they play Thran Dynamo? I should just look. Okay, I should just look up the Zerda Legacy deck. Back in April 2020, people. We're going back in time. The deck is not legal, not anymore. Wait, what do you guys play? They played Mox Diamond, Mox Opal, Magma Mine. No, I don't want to see you up close. Boros. Oh, it played the Signets. Grim Monolith. Okay, they played Grim Monolith and Basalt Monolith. And Staff of Domination. You can't see the Staff. The Staff of Domination. Oh, yeah, that's pretty good, isn't it? So basically, all the abilities are going to be really cheap. Do you like combos? I like playing against them. I actually like combo decks. I just don't play any of them. Because I suck at combo decks. I'm better with stupid creature-based decks with tiny amounts of disruption. Oh, and Walking Ballista, that's a combo. Or is it? Yeah, you can put 1 mana on it. So these are just mana sinks. This is a mana sink. This is a mana sink. We now know why Zerda is banned. I think Zerda might have also been banned before they fixed companions. They did? So that's a good question. Is Zerda bannable now? I don't know, actually. I don't know how this deck plays out. Maybe it's completely broken. But maybe it's fine. You still have to spend 3 mana to get it in play. But once you get it in play, it's infinite mana. So here's the deal. It's an infinite mana combo. You have 1 card already in your hand. So it's 6 mana, but it's an infinite mana combo. And you're playing a deck with, like, tons of mana ramp. You'll get to the 6 mana easily, so probably it's still broken. It's an infinite mana combo you just need 1 other piece from, and you'll find it easily. Alright, that's it. That's it for this series. I hope you enjoyed it all. If you want to see other parts of the series, you got links to all that in the description. And if you want to be part of the show, you got to be here at Monday to Friday, 11 o'clock a.m. Central Standard Time. Be there or be square. Thank you very much for all your support, everyone who's a member on the YouTube channel, Patreon on Patreon, and everyone who super chats, because those super chats help contribute to the channel and make sure that I am here every single morning. But most importantly, thank you guys for the discussion. Because with thanks to Monster CC, John Six, Baku, Lyra, Zik, Michael Jones, The Jaded Nalia, Mark Zilla, Shamus, Joel, you guys make the show. I am nothing without all of you. So my coffee crew, keep brewing up them coffees, and we'll keep brewing up the magic. Take care of yourselves, and I will